tested when there are other test nets. Like they don't have
Well, I
any
use
issue.
that because I already have fake Ethernet over there. That's why I use it,
Mm-hmm.
and it went so well so far. Just the issue I had with Remix, but besides that, I was able to do transactions quite fast.
Nice, nice.
And I'm trying to get back to my code, so I used here on Discord. Just so you can see. Is the note here?
Yeah, I was gonna say, share your screen and maybe we can step through something.
Use this line to send some into the contract, and the player I send address to the contract address. Then from there I can see there's no wallet owner, so I claim it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And let me see, where's my other? Then I have to check my contributions.
Mm-hmm.
And
Why did you convert it to a number there?
well, I was just looking for the command lines, and I found that for that it works on AVI. If I put await contract, it doesn't do anything. I have to look on in Google just to find out how that works.
Okay.
So with that, I was able to check my contributions.
Nice.
There was a show pending, and what is my last contract? I did this one, and then I sent this. So I understand the values in terms of what should be, but
I see, I see. So I think when I see that line you put with send transaction, the value you're putting is in way. And
yeah.
I think that will be you'll have an issue with gas because gas, I think you need at least, I don't know what it's like in Gorelli, but normally you need like 20 to 50,000 way.
Yeah, so I was trying to figure out those numbers, but I should have more clever on those.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tricky. Like I get confused on it still all the time. So if you try to change that value to like 60,000 instead of one, maybe that will give you something different.
Okay.
I think another one with this is specifying the gas limit. So
Mhm, mhm.
when sending transactions from an externally owned account, that gas limit is usually needing to be set um, versus whenever you call like other transaction, like a contract function, that gas limit usually doesn't have to be set. But whenever you do it from this externally owned account, like here, using send transaction, there should be a field where you include that gas limit. Um, so that's a hint to, I think, that the area
Mhm.
running into. But can you also share your screen if are you on it right now?
Yeah. I have to read it again because
Here, let me see.
just save it for. Let me see here. I can share my screen. It now?
Yep, I can see it now.
Yeah, this one. I did the fallback. But it because I was keep my screen open, is only show these values. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the same contract I use. Um, here's the player,
Mm-hmm.
and this should be me. This is contract. Sorry. Can you see the on the button? I just clear here. There
Yep.
you go. This player is the contract, and then I should put contract owner. It's not showing. Maybe I typed it wrong.
I think you should put a wait in front of it because it's returning a promise. Do AWAIT and then put that in.
AWM.
Yeah, wait, await AWAIT.
That's true. Wait, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I type it right.
Hmm. Um.
Yeah, but
Do Go
hmm?
ahead. I was gonna say do I think it's con what was the help function? I think it's contract dash dash help, and I think there's another way to get the instance. I can't remember though.
Like this one. Oh,
Yeah, was that was it that one? Or type dash dash help just alone.
hmm. Like this. There we go. Uh,
Let me see. Let me go on Ethernet with you. Okay, so let's see. Go network.
and I close my Remix because it's causing a lot of issues. Then get balance. Um,
Okay, so there's uh
this player contract, contract, and this is
okay, so um so real quick, take me through um and I may have missed it when you had first explained it. Take me through the process, like the thought process of the attack.
well. When I see here, I was reading about the fallback, and you should just not ask for anything through the contract, and um, this part, the constructor and modifier is only owner, but the owner could be any sender. So this gives a hint that if I send something, an owner. That's what I was understanding from here.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Okay. So you're saying
so
that the message sender can be anybody.
be anybody. So if I play with a fallback function and send something, and I can become the owner of my wallet,
Gotcha. I see what you're
my
saying.
address.
Gotcha. Yep.
And so I start looking what is how is the way through AVI. The instruction was here. It's not here anymore. I don't know why it's not showing. I have to read get a new instance. And then from here, I just need to send something to this wallet greater than 0001, and then check my contributions to it, and then from there I just withdraw all the funds from the contract to myself, and that's what the instruction was.
Got you.
And those are the only things I was looking for. And when I just check,
So you're saying
I got.
that if you call the contribute function, you could become the owner.
It's blank when I check when nobody owns the contract, and then I just have to become the contributor by sending the contribute command.
Got you. So, so I'm not gonna go deep into telling answer, but I'm gonna walk through like the process. So let's take a step back. You're saying that when you look at the owner, it's not showing anybody as the owner currently.
After I send, yes. Right now, no, because it's the instance I played with, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's the instance. If I have a new instance, then I'll see that I'm not the owner of the contract.
Got you. It should now what should happen. So in that constructor, so this is a piece of Solidity. This may help with you solving the problem. When that constructor is called, see that constructor function right there. When that's called, that's basically like the first person who initializes this contract is going to become the owner, and
Correct.
they're also going to contribute about 1,000 ether to this to their wallet or to their contributions, right? So what's happening here is Ethernaut is actually going to be the one that deploys this contract because they're deploying it for us to attack. So
Right.
whenever you look at the owner field, there should be an owner. It shouldn't be empty.
Yeah, the beginning is not empty.
Okay.
It's only after I send something, I check the owner, there's no owner. Then after that, I was able to contribute, and then I become the owner. That's how I understood it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So, but basically, you're saying that through the contribute function, is that how you're going to become the owner?
Yes.
Got you. So take a look at, um, so it says require message.value to be less than 0.001 ether. So what is that? Take me through what does that mean right there?
So what I understand here is that required for this function to work on the contributions to be less than this value.
Mm-hmm.
If so, then add the then if it does require, then you can go to the next step, which is contributions message sender increases by the amount of the value. So that's increasing the amount of contribution in what is in the contract.
Mm-hmm. But
And
for who?
for the contract.
Got you.
Right?
Yep, close. So see that message.sender. So it's taking. So this is a mapping. So it's saying basically. So let's say message.sender is your wallet. Let's say it's Aldrin. So what this is saying is the contributions that Aldrin has made to this contract is going to be increased by this certain value.
Yes.
Yep. And then what does this next one say?
If the contributions are bigger than the contributions of the owner, and owner will be the sender will become the owner.
Exactly.
I have to to send something bigger that is in the current contract. Yeah, that's true. I checked the value and I had to check something that is bigger that was in the contract.
Well,
Make
it
sense?
so this greater than, it's not saying the contributions in the contract. This is saying the contributions of that initial owners. So
Okay.
initially the remember when we take when we have a constructor that initializes the contract. So now the
Mm,
Ethernaut, let's just say Ethernaut is the owner, and they made a
correct.
contribution of 1,000 Ether. So what
I
this,
see.
yep. So when we go down to contribute, what this is saying is your contributions, Aldrin, whoever's going to call this contract, has to be greater than 1,000 Ether.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Now, where that can be a
Mm-hmm.
problem though is, see that require statement?
Mm-hmm.
So require basically says if this value is not true, then we're going to revert this transaction. So there's an interesting trick to this because many people think they have to contribute they have to contribute more than the owner. But if you see this require statement, it says the message.value has to be less than 0.001 ether, which means if you tried to make a contribution greater than the owner, or let's say you try to make a contribution greater than what the
Mm-hmm.
owner has, this statement is always going to fail because essentially they've just made it to where you cannot pass in a value of greater than 0.001 ether.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? And if anything, I can show my screen and maybe map it out. Cause this one is tricky.
So you're saying that, well, the contributions are 1,000 liter.
Mm-hmm.
Here, trick is that if I send, it's true to require something that is smaller than 0.00 ether. If I
Mm-hmm.
send something smaller, and this could be the loophole to become the owner.
So
Is that right?
So no, I'm saying that this basically blocks anyone from being able to become the owner. The contribute function, it blocks you. They've basically contradicted themselves in
Mm-hmm.
this code right here. So what they're so like let's take the code aside. Let's not look at the code and just think about the what I like to do is like state tracing or call tracing. And so
Mm-hmm.
the logic is here's the logic of this contract. In order to become the main contributor or the owner, sorry, in order to become the owner of this contract, you have to be able to contribute more than the amount that the initial contributor made. And the initial
Like
contributor made
three.
1,000. Yep, they made 1,000 ether. So
Mm-hmm.
what this is saying is, in order to become the next owner, you need to contribute more than 1,000 ether. But they've contradicted themselves with this require statement because anytime I send anything more than 0.001 ether, it's going to always fail. So this basically is a locked function that allows no one to become the owner of the contract.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That
So,
sense more.
yep. So now with that said, can you think of any potential other ways that owner is equal to message.sender? Are there any other functions in this contract that you could potentially call?
Get contribution
Okay.
or
Mm-hmm. What does the get contribution do?
returns a unit and it returns, it goes back to the contributions. Contribution. Go back to return the contributions to the using the sender, whoever is sending.
So this, so close. I see where you're going. This, and this is great because you're doing a great job at reading and interpreting like how this is working. So Ethereum is a little tricky with their Solidity. And I was used to JavaScript, so I was thinking, okay, this is what this is doing. But see that there's something called modifiers. See how it says function get contribution, and then you see public, and then you see view.
Yes.
So a view modifier basically just means that you're going to be able to view state. It's not returning anything. It's not sending anyone anything. What this is doing is allowing you to view state. So it does return a uint, but it's not sending anything to anyone. It's not changing state anywhere. This is just allowing you to see something. And so
Okay.
what it's allowing you to see is your total contributions.
So you're seeing what is already on the either the last contributions made to this contract.
Exactly. Yep. It shows what. So, like, say if you contributed 0.001 ethers, when you call get contributions, what it's going to do is it's going to take message.sender, which is you, because you called it, and it's going to show you all the contributions that you have made to this contract.
In this case, I can put player on my ABI. That
Hey, Miles, and Aldrin, I think someone else just hopped in. Do y'all think it might be good to switch over to the CTF channel?
Yeah. Let's
Okay.
Aldrin, let's switch to the CTF channel, and then Jay, ask you're gonna stay in here with Robert?
Yeah, I'll stay here so I can
Work with Jay.
help people here.
Okay, cool. Let's hop into the study hall CTF channel, Aldrin, and we can walk through it. Hey. Hey, Aldrin, can you hear me?
to the channel.
Yep, there we go. You can hear me okay?
Okay.
Okay, so let's go back to share your screen. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to, because I see exactly where you're going. So share your screen one more time, and what I'm gonna do is give you something called a lead. Basically, it's like some hints to how this is gonna work and how this code is structured.
Let me see if I can my screen.
There we go. Okay. So there's a couple of things that I see, like after watching you step through, there's a couple of things that I see that will definitely help. So I'm gonna just give you like a few reading things. Okay. So this right here is going to be very helpful. Okay, so just skim through this article. So what are mappings? So that's a fundamental thing to understand for this contract. Another one is another one is understanding what the fallback function is. here. And one more. The next one is
Okay.
the next one is functions and solidity. And I may have sent them out of order. But I think those three things will really help in understanding how this problem is. Um, what I'm gonna say is here my because I'm actually I'm on challenge number 13. I'm stuck on that right now, and I'm giving you my process of how do I approach this like a problem in CTFs and hacking in general. So what we do is we take some of the key concepts that they're trying to get across. So one is mappings, the other is how functions work in Solidity, and then the last one is understanding the fallback function. So I'll say read up on those, and then once you're done with those readings, let me know if let's revisit your thought process of this contract, and then we can go
Okay.
from there. And I think let's do that. So if you want, I say go on. You can actually mute all of us by let me show you. Let me share my screen. So if you go to, like for instance, I'm talking right here. If you go to this mute button and you say, it should be a deafen somewhere. Oh, why am I not seeing it? Put, maybe it's here. Nope. Oh, here it is. Okay. So if you right click on yourself and you hit server deafen, it's basically going to mute all of us and we won't be able to hear you either. And it's a good way for you to focus while we're talking through stuff. So I'm going to help some of these other students out and give them some leads. And then in about 15, 20 minutes, let's revisit how you view the contract, and then we'll go into next steps. Does that work?
Works.
Cool. Yep. So take those readings and then come back in about 15, 20 minutes, and I'll be able to help you then.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I think Jay, you had joined next. Are you stuck on a problem and want to go through one of the CTFs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on one second. Sorry,
No
my
problem.
router just went.
And Kiki, I'm gonna help you as well after. I'm gonna help you as well after with Jay.
Yeah, I wanted to go through the your approach for how you did the first homework, the fallback one. I watched your video on YouTube and kind of got what was going on, and I kind of didn't, and I was like, damn, I wish I could just go through this with him and ask him certain questions.
Yeah.
Then, but I guess maybe it's because I haven't read those new links that you put in the chat yet. That might be the reason why I'm struggling a little bit. I'm not sure what the best process was.
Yeah.
It's like, let me pull up the contract real quick.
Yep. And
so like I read the contract and I understand in a general sense what the contract is doing and what each function is doing. But I guess where I'm not clicking is like, what's the method to like attack a contract? Like I'm not thinking it from that perspective.
Yep. And Aldrin, if you do want to take a break and see from this might also help. Just seeing like another student, their thought process going through it might help. So same thing I did with Aldrin. So Jay, can you share your? Let me stop sharing my screen. Can you share your screen? And then what I'm gonna have you do is step through each line of code and explain what you think is going on, what part may be confusing. Because that's the first approach of an attacker is we first have to walk through and see what we understand, and then take our understandings and try to break it, even if we don't understand fully, which is perfectly okay. So let's do that exercise for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you want, I can pull it up too.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi just went out, so I'm literally trying to like set it up while talking to you. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
All right, so you want to let me see what's the best way to do this. I guess
Share your screen and then share the. Are you working on? You working through the console? Or are you working through Remix?
now I'm working through VS Code, and so I'm just trying to figure out. Uh, I copied the contract into VS Code,
Mm-hmm.
and basically I'm just trying to see what's the best way to like this. So how do I
Uh,
share your screen?
yeah.
I want to share a window. I want to share this window. Okay, there we go. Is it you guys see it?
And let's see. Yep, I can see it.
All right. So um all right, so you want me to just go through the code?
Mm-hmm. Just go through from take it from the top and just explain what's happening in each step.
All right. So the license identifier, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Um Pragma Solidity, that's just the Solidity version. This is 8.0 or anything above 8.0.
Mm-hmm.
The name of this contract is fallback. First thing this contract has is a mapping. Now, the mapping, what it's doing is it's indexing that address to a specific UINT.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the name of the mapping is going to be contributions, and it's going to be public. And the address will be public, and it'll be the address of the owner.
Yep.
Correct?
Yeah.
All right. So now we have a constructor that's going to get initialized before the first function, and it's to set the owner to message.sender. And then it's saying the contributions of message.sender needs to be 1,000 times 1 ETH, correct?
So it's saying not that it needs to be, but that the initial contributor made a contribution of 1,000 ether.
Okay, so it's saying the initial contribution of a message.sender is 1,000 ETH.
Mm-hmm.
Let me write that down. So this is, yeah. Now this is modifier function, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is just a standard only owner, so it requires that the the owner can only be message.sender of the contract, right?
Yep.
When you call only owner later in the contract.
Mm-hmm. And just a
Okay.
just a quick question: Who is the um, who is the owner of this contract?
Um, didn't we initialize owner to be the person who's verified as message.sender?
Yeah. So, one thing, and this may help out with you as well, Aldrin. So something that's happening under the hood here is Ethernaut is deploying this contract, and they are the initial owners. So, in this constructor right here, whenever that is called, just in your head, or at least in my head, what I always do is say, okay, this original owner is Ethernaut, and what I have to do is try to take away ownership, and so. Um, that owner field is the address of the Ethernet
Okay,
deployer.
so only owner. Okay.
Yep.
All right, so now this is the function.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a standard function. It's the function so you can contribute to the contract.
Mm-hmm.
It's public. It's using the payable keyword. It requires that the amount has to be less than 0.001 ether for the
Mm-hmm.
value, correct?
Yep.
And the contributions will be initial value from message.sender plus the new value.
Yeah. Good.
That's less than 1 ETH, correct?
Yeah, that's good.
Then it's saying if the contributions from message.sender is greater than the contributions of the person who owns the contract, the
Mm-hmm.
new person who owns the contract is message.sender. So what it's saying is that if I give more money to the contract than the Ethernaut owner who initially deposited 1,000 ETH,
Mm-hmm.
I now become the owner of the contract.
Yes. Very
But
good.
it's also requiring that the only value you can send is something less than 1 ETH, less
Yeah.
than point oh.
So it's contradicting itself, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
the contract's contradicting itself right there. No.
yeah, no, that is true. So,
Okay.
yep. Okay, so now when you hit that, what was your thought process? You were like, "Oh dang, well I can't use this contribution to become the owner." So what was the next step in your thought process?
Um. So I can only send less than point oh 0.01 ETH, right? I can
Mm-hmm.
only send less than 0.001 ETH. In order for me to gain the contract, I need to contribute more than 1,000 ETH,
Yes. Okay.
right? So my thought process was, if I want to own this contract, I need to figure out a way to change that requirement
Mm-hmm.
of point oh oh 0.001 ETH, or I need to send point oh oh 0.001 ETH X amount of times in one transaction so that it won't trigger that loop, but it'll give me the total value larger than. See what I'm saying?
Interesting. I like the thought process. So you're saying maybe you can do 0.001 ETH so many times to the point where it doesn't trigger this requirement and you can become the owner.
Yeah, if I trick the contract into meeting that bottom requirement, but I do it so many times in one transaction, and at the end of that transaction, I'm not sure if it'll compile like that, but that's like what
Yeah.
my thought process is.
Yeah.
Like, just
No, I want to say that that's a really great job. So what you're doing already you're already doing something called pivoting. So you're pivoting and trying to figure out how to how to break it, right? That's what we're trying to learn how to do, how to break this thing. And you're thinking of like a unique path of how could I potentially do it. And so you're like, okay, maybe I can do this requirement of 0.001 and just do it so many times where I can become the owner. So now, with that thought process, a part of this is understanding a little bit about how transactions work. So when you call this contribute function, that's going to be essentially one transaction. And there's at least conceptually, there's no way that I know that you can submit that many transactions all in one transaction. That's just a thing that it's a part of the Solidity internals where you cannot do that. So
okay.
great thought process, but because of Solidity and how transactions work, it's all atomic. You submit one transaction and that transaction is final. You cannot fractionalize it. It's not parallel. You can't do anything like that. So with that said, what is another thought of yours you're having as you're listening to me say that?
Yeah, I didn't think Solidity would allow me to do that with the transactions, but I was
Mm-hmm.
kind of thinking of like, all right, dump I basically need to dump 1,001 ETH
Mm-hmm.
into this contract somehow,
Nice,
become the become the owner of the contract.
nice.
So, so now I think about it, I might actually not need to put 1,001 ETH into the contract.
Why is that?
Well, because I just need to have more money in the contract than the owner, right?
Um, well,
My
so
contribution is greater than. Oh, is it the owner's original contribution? Because if I could drain the 1,000 out.
that's a great and see I like where you're going. You're pivoting and trying to figure out another way. So Now here's the thing. Before you pivot, and this is something I still fail to do when I do auditing. Before you pivot into another attack path, let's continue now and read the rest of the contract, and then let's see what thoughts you have.
All right. All right. So then now this is the get contribution functions. Function get contribution. It's public. It's viewable by the entire chain. It returns an integer or uint. And it returns contributions of message.sender. So this function basically will let you know how much the person contributed.
Yeah, good.
This is a withdraw function, public. It needs the only owner modifier.
So what does that mean?
It means that this function can only be called by the person with the only owner who owns the contract.
Yep.
Because we established earlier that only owner can only be it's required
Yep.
that you have to be the owner of the contract. It's payable owner.transfer address this dot balance, right? So that means it's payable to the owner of the contract, and you're transferring the balance that's paid to the address of the contract.
Say that one more time.
It's only payable to the owner of the contract, and you're transferring the balance that is paid to the owner of to the address that owns the contract, or to the address of the contract.
Yes. Yeah. Basically, that's the balance that's stored in the contract. So what you're doing is, and you're pretty much saying it, but basically, it's sending the total balance that's in this contract to the owner.
Let me just. Okay.
Yep. All right.
And then this is a receipt. Oh, this is the function so that it can receive money from outside the contract, right? So it's external, it's payable, and it requires that the value is greater than 0, that the contributions of message.sender is greater than 0. Then it's saying the owner equals message.sender.
So this is it's not just saying the owner is message.sender. This is it's setting the owner.
Oh, it's saying that the owner is the sender of owner is message. Wait, so why didn't we initialize the owner earlier in the only owner in the constructor to be message.sender?
Yeah.
So why is it doing it twice?
That's the part. That's a hint. That's not just that's a variable being set to a new value, and message.sender
sender becomes the owner.
Yes, good.
Wait, say that again. Sorry.
Say that one more time, Elden.
The sender becomes the owner. You're setting the sender as the new owner.
Yes.
As a new.
Before it was sender equals owner.
I thought we did that already. I thought we already set the owner as the sender.
Yeah.
The constructor.
Yeah, that's right.
It's in the payable.
But remember, go ahead.
I just want to comment one thing. If y'all are familiar with the concept of variables and solidity, so like if you work with JavaScript or another language, you can change the value in variables. So that's one thing to always pay attention to. Like you're questioning, like, hey, we set this value once, but it can be changed. So that is, like, you're right, it is changing the value. And that's what the code's doing.
Wait, so in this function here, we're changing the value of owner in the contract. We're changing it to what exactly?
To the message.sender.
Okay, why am I not? Why is this not clicking for me?
No, no,
It's
this is perfect, man. This is exactly how it, the
not.
thought process should go. It's all good. So, um, like Robert said, if you're familiar with like JavaScript, if you set let's say let's just take out owner mesh.center because this let's say we have a value of x, right? And at the top of our code, we say let x equals 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then 5 lines down, we say let x equal 6. What
Mm-hmm.
will x equals now?
6.
Why?
Because we change the value of x later on in the code.
Exactly. So now let's just replace x with owner. If we look up at the top, scroll up. All right, so here, owner is equal to message.sender.
Yep, right here.
And okay, I see where the thought process is. So message.sender, remember, is the address of whoever sends that transaction. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so in this case, it's Ethernaut.
Yes.
Okay, because they're the constructor, they're the one who create the contract. But remember, if we look at any other function, anyone could potentially call that, right? So down here, yep, down here in line 42, in our previous example, we said if we said x equals 5 and then later on x is equal to 6, then now x is definitely going to be equal to 6. So later
Okay.
on we have owner is equal to message.sender. Anyone
Mm-hmm.
else can be the message.sender, so this owner can be a new person. No?
Wait, let me just rationalize this for a second. So since in the beginning of the contract we set owner to message.sender, and that was Ethernaut who owned it.
Mm-hmm.
So the address for Ethernaut is the one who owns the entire contract.
Yep.
In this contract, at the end of it, it's saying that if you call the receive function,
Mm-hmm.
you put in more than 0 because it requires that the value be greater
Yes.
than 0, and the contribution to message is 0. The new owner is the message.sender.
Yep. And
Owner is now message.sender.
yep. And who could that be?
It would be the person who makes the next person who makes a contribution would then
Yep.
become the new owner.
Yes, if you call that function, correct.
You call that function.
And so what is the
Okay.
objective? So another thing is looking at the goal of the CTF. So did you look at the requirements of what is the objective of this goal or of this?
I got it pulled up right here. Give me 1 second. It wants us to. No, sorry. I don't know if you guys can still see my screen.
No, I can't.
Just wants us to claim ownership of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
So to claim ownership of the contract, I have to make a contribution to it, and my contribution has to be greater than 0. Correct?
Yep.
No, it has to be greater than the initial contribution. No.
Maybe. So if we read the Ethernet, it says you will beat this level if you claim ownership of the contract, you reduce this balance to 0. So what you're trying to do is figuring out how to claim ownership of this contract. And in that first case, contribute, it looks like that's a dead end. It's impossible to send 1,000 ether. So what is another way that owner is being set to a new person or to whoever tries to do it?
If you make a contribution, you automatically become an owner.
No. Well, I see what you're saying. If you make a contribution through this function, you become the owner. Is that what you're saying?
Through the receive function.
Yes.
Yeah, through through the receive function, you then become the owner.
Okay.
So what we have to do is we have to make a contribution to the contract calling the receive function.
Possibly.
And
That.
then,
Yep.
right? And then after we make the contribution to the contract called the receive function, we're the owner. And then once we're the owner, we can just withdraw everything from the contract.
Yeah, that sounds like a valid attack path. Now the key part is, how do you do that?
I'm not going to pretend I know the answer to that question.
That's perfect. So I dropped a link in there. It said, what is the fallback function in Solidity? And so same thing I told. So you caught the last tail end of what I was doing with algebra. I was doing the same exercise. So look at what is the fallback function in Solidity to understand a little bit of what that function is and how do you invoke it, and then that will help us get to how it works.
Okay, you dropped that in the chat. Let me see something. Let me. Oh, I have to. Oh, should I stop sharing my screen?
Yeah, you can go and start sharing it, and then same thing I told Aldrin. Take about 15 minutes and look at that, read through that, and then come back, and then we'll see. I think, and then Aldrin, I'm gonna get you in a second. Kiki, how you holding up?
Hello, I would say this is my first day here, so I'm just pretty much just trying to see exactly what's going on. So
Oh,
that's why I was just watching study
yeah, I'm sorry about
while
that.
you all.
Um,
Oh, no problem, because I had learned about it yesterday, so I had started looking at it last night,
mhm.
and Zach had told me that you all was gonna have study session today, so
Yep.
I was like, okay, I can just come to study hall and kind of see what's going on.
Perfect, perfect. Just a quick question. Did you watch the course info session and then the session one?
No, I started because I know it's on YouTube. I started probably 10 minutes in it late last night.
Okay.
So that's why I should start with those two.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I was basically just making sure, like where would be the first videos to hit. But
Okay.
this is still great that you're in here watching this process. I just wanted to make sure that at least so after when we get off the call, you'd be like, okay, now what do I do? So what I'll say is after this study hall, hop
Yes.
on those and finish those out, and then
Okay.
that will definitely help with completing the challenge. But basically, what we're doing now is for every Thursday session, we're gonna have a study hall, and it's where any student can come in, ask questions, struggle through stuff with us. We're all gonna be like just working on problems together and trying to figure out how to break stuff. Um,
Okay.
so that's what this session is, and this happens every Thursday. And then every Saturday we have a course session, which is where we go through a topic and introduce something, and then we introduce the assignment, which is what you see everyone working on today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do you have to have experience in this, or is this kind of I can learn based off the information that you all already is putting in
Yeah. Yeah.
that you already have?
Yeah. So you can learn based off of the information we're putting. As long as as long as you're willing to work through the assignments and exercises, then that is all you need is just the will to want to work through them. Um, and so and so you don't have to have any prior Solidity experience. We pretty much throw a bunch of resources for anyone to get started to understand what's going on, and then they can get to the point where they can start hacking contracts.
Okay. Well, thank you.
No problem. And it's actually really great that you're here because you're kind of watching what it's like after about a week or two of diving into Solidity, trying to understand it, and then trying to do this challenge. Um, and this is where people end up.
Okay.
Okay, so Jay, before I get to you, Aldrin, how are you doing?
Take a second with me because I gotta fix my Wi-Fi thing before I even look at this because my Wi-Fi's all messed up.
Okay, you're all good. Aldrin, you doing good?
I was following his process and mindset, which is better than mine. I was more minimalistic.
No. There's no such thing as a better mindset. That's the beauty of hacking is we all have our unique thought processes that help us in finding the problem. So no, you're doing good, man.
So you mentioned about how to become the owner, and let's see here. I haven't read all the things because I was listening to Straw Hat. I guess. Let me see here. Share my screen. Right. Used to improve my process thinking here with you.
Mm-hmm.
So um, solve the code and become the owner and withdraw all the funds. A least is required to contribute to the contract the max of 0.001 has to be more than this. Pass the required check. This is required check, we need to contribute more than that. And then calling the contribute function. The contributions of the sender can be greater than 0. If I send one way or one gas way to the contract, trigger the receive function, and I could become the owner because I'm triggering this function.
Yes. Yeah.
Then after I become the owner, and I can call the function to withdraw all the funds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. That's basically the thought process of the attack. That is the flow.
Yes. I think I luckily read it differently, but it worked for me. I didn't see that this one is the one that's calling on the payable function, which calls also
The owner.
message sender. Yes. I
Yep.
was just looking more into this. But
Uh-huh.
this one is the trick one. This is the weak code line, which in theory, by listening correctly to you guys on his thought process, receive is the one is making the new sender the owner.
Mm-hmm. So the modifier isn't necessarily the weak area. That's just that's a standard pattern of ensuring that whoever sends that transaction is the owner. You called it out. This receive function though is the vulnerability because it's an alternate way to become the owner of the contract.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, actually my troubleshooting process goes very light. But I want to see more on the mapping table if that helps me out to get more into deep and
Mm-hmm.
how in Solidity works, all the calling functions and all the attributes.
Yeah. Are you familiar with dictionaries in other languages or key value pairs in other languages?
I think mostly I have done is a little bit of Perl
Got you.
and JavaScript.
Got you. Is there have you yeah, so essentially what the mapping is, it's basically a key value pair. So what that means is yeah, if you look, yep, that's it. So scroll up or go to one of those things. I think it was the
This
other.
one, right? The other
Get
one.
the alchemy, yeah, and then scroll up. So see that right there? That key. So that's a key value pair. So basically what it will say is let's say your address is the key, and then the value is going to be whatever value has been set there. It's just a way to record some data at some index.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Scroll
Excuse
down.
me. Hello?
Mm-hmm.
didn't mean to interrupt. How do I do that deafen thing again you just said?
Oh, so right click on your name.
Okay, and then click deafen.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, so that is essentially what a key value pair is, or what a mapping is. It's a key value pair.
Mm.
And so also another thing, Aldrin, I think that Jay may have done it, but another place I would do along with trying to do this is something called crypto zombies.
Yeah, I think I was playing with Crypto Zombies at some point.
Yeah, play with crypto zombies, and also Kiki, if you're listening, this is a great resource for jumping right into Solidity, and it teaches a lot about how Solidity works, how to code in Solidity, and just get some of the basics, which really helps in determining how to hack these contracts.
Okay, so crypto zombies, right?
Yep,
Yeah. So
I threw it in the
thank.
chat. Um,
I
yeah.
think I'm doing some of this.
Oh, perfect. Yep. Um, so yeah, maybe go back and just look through those, and then revisit this one, because you all know the attack. It's the tough part is also just implementing it and how to properly do it. Um,
Yes. I was trying
and
to do it. The Hertonaut says to do it with Avi, VI. Did it through here. Then I was trying to do it again with Remix or something external.
yeah,
Um,
I
I
personally
was
like to
trying.
do it through either hard hat or remix. I think remix is a great one to start with. So maybe looking at some tutorials on how to do stuff there. Um, But what I will say is, yeah, you all pretty much have it. The main thing is figuring out how do you call that fallback function. How do you call that, and how do you send money to it? And once you do that, you pretty much can establish ownership. Um, so that's what I would say for like figuring out what will be the next steps.
Okay.
And actually, the snippet you posted earlier, where you were sending a transaction, essentially would be similar to that. Um, Instead of, yeah, I won't I won't tell anymore. But y'all are in the right direction.
Okay.
Cool. So work on that, and we'll still be on. We literally have about, I think, another hour. So um, if we get to the end of this session and you don't know it yet, I'm gonna encourage to look at a write up on this. And I can also show you all as well. But would encourage to look at a write up on how that is performed.
Kelly, do you think there are multiple ways to do it?
What do you
Meaning, like
mean,
there are
like
multiple command lines. Like there are many ways to send it.
send a
There are many ways to
transaction?
withdraw. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it through the console. You can do it through Remix. You can do it with Hard Hat or Foundry. Um, if you're talking about tool sets, then yeah, there's many different tools to use, but it's all going to be the same. Same way
Okay.
to become the owner. I would suggest using Remix.
Well, it says to do it with ABI and then an external, which could be Remix, right?
Yeah, yeah,
All right. That's
cool.
great help
Of course.
reading the line by line.
Of course. So we'll still be in here. I'm gonna jump into the other the Web3 security course main one, just in case anyone comes in with questions. But yeah, work on that for the next 20 or 30 minutes, and then we can reconvene and see where we're at. Okay.
All right.
Cool. Hey.
Yo, yo, what's up?
Nothing much. We got them working through um the problems right now. So yeah,
Right,
they're
that's
good. They're
what's up.
squared away. They have some resources. Thank you, baby. They have some resources. Ooh. And so yeah, they're gonna probably cut out for a bit and work through some stuff, and then I said in 30 minutes we can reconvene.
Nice, nice. I've just been doing some learning and I got a few more. I think I am gonna have like maybe 10 more leads.
Wait, real quick. We are streaming, so
Oh,
uh,
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, I've been looking at the just a lot of different ERCs and EIPs I've never heard of.
oh yeah, that's
It's
something
like
I definitely need to do. For those of y'all on YouTube, I'm sorry. I'm over here munching.
yeah, yeah. Nice. Yeah, I just want to be here also if anyone pops in and wants because I know someone said they wanted to look at audit reports. So yeah, I just want to help fill people in too. Awesome.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, hello.
Yeah, you guys all left the other chat. I see. The other two people left.
I think they're just doing some heads down, and they're gonna hop back on in like half an hour to continue
Okay.
working on it. Yeah.
I had a question real quick.
Yeah. What's up?
It has to do with this fallback link you guys sent me.
Let me see which one that is. Okay, I see it. Yeah. What's the question?
I'm kind of confused
Hmm.
on why the transaction fails. In line 24, it will return false and sending of the ether failed. Why is it failing?
Ah, yes, yes, yes. Okay. So let me make sure. Will that send?
All right, I got my other computer up and running now. I can actually get this in real business with you guys.
Oh, okay, I see. Um, so are you familiar with the I guess much Solidity have you worked with or have
I'm
you
familiar. I've worked with a ton of Solidity, so
yeah,
I've worked with the basics of Solidity, and now
okay.
I've got all the pieces of the puzzle,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm trying to put them all together at once. But I don't come from a software engineering background. I come from a math background, so
Mhm.
I gotta bear with me for a few. But I promise you, I'll get it. So I'll get it right away. I'm just trying to figure out why is it failing? What am I not seeing? I probably just reading the code wrong, but
Okay. So do you see I guess do you first understand why line like what's happening on line 19? Because there's two different calls to contract A. There's on line 19, you're calling the call method, which is like a low level function that lets you call a function on another contract. And on line 24, it's calling a send method, and that's failing. But just does that make sense that those are two separate transactions? I'm not transactions, but contract calls. It's one transaction, but it's two separate
yeah.
contract
So we're
calls.
doing two things. The we're calling the thing that's setting to setter, and it's required that it be a success. And then on the second thing, we're sending ETH.
Yes. And could you walk me through so on line 19, what happens when we make that function call?
Okay, so maybe we make the function call, and we're setting something to this. We're setting A to this address, whatever the
Mhm.
value of little a is. Correct?
Yeah, so I think the way you can interpret this
Oh, because
is
the function is calling big A and small a. Hello.
yeah, it's I don't like naming like that. It's
Yeah,
it's
that's what was
annoying.
throwing me off. That was throwing me off.
Yeah.
Um,
So you see on line 19, what is happening is if you know the address of contract A, contract A is just like that contract defined between lines 4 to 13 because you can define multiple contracts in the same file. Um, and so it's creating that contract and it's calling a method called setter.
so wait, sorry, I accidentally um like messed up something. So You got to say that again. Sorry about that. I apologize.
Yeah, no
A
worries.
lot.
You could try going through it just so I can make sure to see if what how you're understanding it.
Okay, hold on one second. All right, we're looking at line 19. It's going to return a boolean. The boolean needs to be successful, so it has to return a true. And then we're setting address of baby A, and we're calling it and encoding it with the signature of setter, and it's required that it'll be a success, right?
Mhm. And so when that code actually execute and we try to call a method named setter on contract A, what happens there?
It'll be false because there is no method named setter on contract A.
So that is true, but it will actually be true because um it's something that's specific to Solidity. So whenever you're calling a smart contract method from another smart contract, what Solidity is doing under the hood, especially when you're calling a payable method. So you see how on line 10 inside of the contract A like definition, it has a payable method.
Yes.
Are you familiar with what the payable keyword is doing?
Uh, yes, I am.
Okay.
I know
So
what payable does. Yes.
okay. So in this
Now,
situation, oh, go ahead.
okay, yeah. Now continue. Sorry.
So one thing that I always like to keep in mind with smart contracts is it possible for you to send ETH to this contract? Because there's a lot of vulnerabilities that come about where they just don't take into account that you can force send ETH. So whenever a contract has at least one payable method, that means you can send ETH to that contract. So what happens here is you're right, and there is no setter function, so nothing happens. But because there is one payable method in that contract A definition, there's a notion called a fallback function. And that fallback function is like, hey, we couldn't find a method with this name to send ETH to, but we see you have a payable method, so we just assume that you just take this ETH. Um, does that make sense? That's like a
Yeah.
whole, it's a very specific concept to Solidity.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. I understand that. If it's got a payable method, it can accept ETH. If it
Mhm.
has no vote, line 24 will return false as sending the ETH failed. So it fails. It fails because there is no address with a setter method, but shouldn't it just go to the fallback function?
I'm actually not sure what's happening on line 23. Like they're changing the address length. Um, yeah, I think I would just say for this link, the key takeaway is understanding that if there's a payable function in a contract,
Hmm.
then it's possible to send it ETH with either the fallback method or the receive method. And the fallback method is always the like last one it tries.
Okay.
I'm not
All
sure
right.
what they're doing with line 23 is doing something. I'm not really sure what they're doing there.
Hey guys, I'm back.
And hey, what's up?
Okay. All right. So now I got to figure out how that applies to our Ethernet problem here.
Yeah, I think you had the attack vector down when you noticed that in the receive function you can update the owner, and now it's a matter of figuring out how to call that receive function.
Well, the receive function is a payable function, so we can use that fallback thing and send it anyway. Correct?
I think yeah, there that you would be able to call the fallback function directly, but I guess in this situation, would you want to call the fallback function or the receive function? Because what's your objective that you're trying to accomplish?
For this contract, we want to receive. We want to receive. No, we want to become the new owner of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in order to do that, we need to send money to the contract.
Mm-hmm.
So, we want the contract to receive our ETH.
Yep. And would you
And
want that to hit the receive method or the fallback method?
I want it to hit the receive method because when it hits the receive method, it changes the owner to message.sender.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And I think so now it would be a matter of figuring out how to actually call that receive method on the contract.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's awesome that you've like know Solidity because it's even just the Solidity concepts alone are pretty.
Okay.
There's a
So
lot of stuff
I
going on.
have a very, very unique experience with this whole Ethereum Solidity thing. I've been following this stuff for about pretty heavy for about 2.5 years now. And it's I'm so thankful for you guys because this is exactly what I needed. I just needed someone to break down these certain concepts so that I could piece it all together. So because I've been stuck at this tutorial hell of just understanding different aspects of Solidity from a tutorial, from a fact standpoint, but not knowing how to apply it properly. I wish I could just do a Solidity internship for just a month and I'd be fine. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, this is beautiful hearing this, man. Yeah, this is what it's for, because it's like on the internet and like on Twitter, a lot of folks will do stuff and they make it seem seamless, but it takes a lot of like work to understand certain concepts, and you need a community around you to help you get there, because like it's like looking at you, like you said, on a tutorial they explain stuff but they don't really go deep into like what is this actually doing, how does it make sense. um
Well,
yeah.
my biggest thing about tutorials is you just can't ask them questions.
Yeah.
That's why. That's the biggest issue. And then there's another thing I found out. So I went to NFT NYC last year. I actually was if I was gonna go tonight, but it was we had study hall or I would have been there tonight. Um I went to NFT NYC last year and I literally was just like, yo, I know Solidity. I'm like a junior level Solidity dev. Who's hiring? Right. And I literally walked up to every single company that was at NFT NYC and was like, yo, do you need someone to help you code Solidity for your NFT project? And I found out that all the Solidity projects on tutorials that they tell you to practice and learn to learn Solidity in the Solidity community are considered trivial projects because they don't account for like the testing that you need, the what multi-sig stuff that you need, the standards that you need. All of these tutorial projects don't account for those things at all. They just teach you the bare bones basics. And so I literally have been spending the last year trying to piece together like how to build these more complex systems in Solidity. And then that's when I was like, you know what? I don't even like building anyway. Let me focus on auditing because I can read the code very well, as we went through before. So like that's how we got to this point. It's a long story. One day we'll have a beer and talk about it. It'll be
Hmm.
hilarious.
Yeah, no, that's
Uh,
a lot of people is that same way. Like I'm not the best developer, and that's why I pivoted more into cybersecurity because I realized like I liked analyzing and breaking things more than I did building. And so yeah, no, that's a great step into this space. I do have a resource for you though. Have you watched Patrick C. Alpha's?
yeah,
You
if I hear
done
that man's voice again, I'll throw up.
it? Okay.
I love
Well,
him. No, he's amazing. I love him. I've met him. I've loved him. I met him. He's a great guy. I met him at the NYC NFT 2 years ago. He was there when that was back when he was working with
with Chainlink,
Chainlink.
yeah.
Yeah, that was back when he was working with Chainlink. And I watched his 16-hour Chainlink video with Brownie. Yeah, I'm very familiar with that. It was
Got you.
just
There, there's a
he's
new one
great.
though.
I can't do another 8 hours of his voice. I'll throw up.
I
I'll
got
literally
you.
throw up.
I got you. I was gonna give you his new video. He has a 30. You probably gonna be mad at saying this, but 32-hour course. And honestly, it was a great gateway for me coming from Rust. And it's something I suggest a lot of folks. But
Wait, you
um,
code Rust?
I started with auditing in Rust.
Oh,
Um,
you audit in Rust.
yeah.
Whatchamacallit's got a position open for a Rust auditor.
Who?
Oh, I just saw it today. Hold on, I can find it. Give me like 2 minutes, bro. You're probably one of the only people on the planet who audit Rust. So like you probably get this job right away.
There's
Let me find
a few folks.
Yeah, but like
Wow.
not like a few folks is right. There's probably like there's not enough people who code in Rust. Never mind audit Rust.
True,
Um
yes. It's a very small community
yeah, it's
of rest
Rust.
owners.
Like
Here,
that's such a low level language.
let me copy this. All right, you better be mad for this link I'm about to drop in there, but check this out. And Kiki, this will be a great one to check out as well. This takes you from like step one. It teaches a lot about blockchain fundamentals too. Um,
Okay.
oh wait. Sorry, this is the wrong one. This is Python. I didn't mean to put that one in there. Hold on. Let's share this one. And unless you want to do Python, then that's fine. But um,
Wait, this is the one with Foundry? Because the last one he did was with Brownie and Hard Hat.
yeah, no, he did this one with Hard Hat. This is he did it like a reboot. So he's done a lot of reboots of his old courses, and he like this stuff is some gold content. Teaches you how to build like decent NFT marketplaces. He teaches you the why behind a lot of stuff. Instead of like some
Mm.
of the earlier videos. So I say give him a second chance. Definitely good stuff.
Oh no, I will absolutely. He's great, actually. I sat through the first 16-hour video like a year ago when it dropped,
Yeah.
and yeah, man. Where's your? Hold on, let me send you this. Uh, dude, sent that to you.
Cool. Thanks. I'm gonna probably check it out. But yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So for the problem, I didn't hear I call it tail end. So you're just gonna work through the how of how to send that.
Yeah, I'm gonna just figure out how to code that. That's one of the other things. I'm not the strongest of like coding. I'm very strong at reading, understanding, and analyzing and scanning. Like the code, like the hard coding part is probably like my weakest point.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to sit down and just be like, all right, I understand now that I need to take control of this contract by exploiting the receive function in the contract and sending ETH via the receive function. Now it's a matter of coding a smart contract that does that. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't like what's it called? Um, wouldn't inherit this contract, right?
No, you shouldn't have to do any inheriting for this.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. So
Makes
what
Yeah, I
I
sense.
would
think the
go ahead.
oh, go ahead, Miles.
No, I was gonna say try this, Jay. Try this in remix first, and that may be a great way before jumping into hard hat. Go ahead. My bad, Robert. What were you gonna say?
Try this problem in remix.
Yes, try to complete this problem in remix.
I loaded it up on my VS Code because I was watching your tutorial video,
Oh, so okay, yeah. So
and
if you
then
watch
I
my
started getting
tutorial,
confused.
yeah, if you can
I
if
watched
you
like the first half of it and started get like no, I shouldn't say like the first. It's like an hour 50 minutes. I watched like the first hour 20 and then started getting confused and I was like, I'll just see this guy's study session. And
gotcha,
you answered all the questions. I probably got to finish the rest of the video now.
gotcha. Okay. My bad, Robert. What were you about to say?
I was just gonna mention, I think the first like 5 or 6 challenges, they can be done either by writing a contract, or you could do it from the browser using the Ethers.js API in the console.
Okay.
Um,
Ooh, okay.
because at the end of the day, there is already a contract deployed on whatever testnet you're using that you're trying to hack. And so you can interact with that contract either with your own contract or through Ethernet's console with their Ethers API, like Aldrin was doing earlier.
Okay. Okay. So I think that's what I'm going to work on. Um, there was one other thing I wanted to do because I know now I kind of know like how to attack that problem to work on that. I don't want to waste too much of you guys' time.
No, you're good, man. This
Um,
these hours are dedicated for y'all. To walk through stuff,
um,
teach.
if the next thing, if you could like pull up an audit report and just talk me through it, like what are you looking at? What are you seeing? What am I not read? Like I don't know how to read one, so I don't think I'm reading them well. I'm just reading words.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a great question. I was actually looking at one, unless you wanted to walk through one else.
No, no, go ahead. Pull that one up.
Preferably one with like some elementary audits, so that I could understand the bare bones. Like if
Yeah,
like
I
like
think
like let's not do
most of the
like
reports that I know have some like some low impact or like QA bugs that are a little bit easy to understand.
yeah, just like easy to understand so I can start because I gotta think like an attacker.
Hmm.
That's what you guys keep saying. It's actually really funny because I have a minor in cybersecurity, but I got that minor in cybersecurity because of my skills with cryptography, not because I'm good at attacking. Um, yeah, so
Nice.
it's just
That'll
funny.
come in handy with the auditing because there's a lot of like random cryptography stuff.
Yeah, actually, that's why I like got into blockchain was because I found out that there were I have a degree in mathematical programming.
Hmm.
Um, and so I heard money was being programmed mathematically. I was like, wait a minute, what is this?
Okay.
Um, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like a little background about me, just
Yeah.
so you have an idea, kind of gauge. So like, yeah, if you have any like, I can't wait to start doing the deck stuff because that's right up my wheelhouse. Which I know everybody hates, but like math logic is literally the most fun thing in the world to me.
Yeah, it's hard for me,
Right.
so that's good. That's really good.
Yeah. Yeah. My DeFi knowledge is not the best.
Yeah, no, like that's where I said that's why when we were doing the fallback contract, I was like, oh wait a minute, can't I just send 0.01 ETH like X amount of times and that'll work? You know what I mean? Like that's how I'm thinking, like the numbers side. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to find a low.
Well, what was the
Mm.
you pulled up the report you're looking at, Robert?
Yeah, I was just looking through it and it looks like it might be not the best one to start with.
Is it
'Cause
Sherlock or Code?
it's like fines and mediums. Yeah.
Got you.
I, I I wanted to find one that had some lows and like gas optimizations as well, just to show like the full
Got you.
range. If you know any good ones too.
Um, let's see. I think it's a good one. I think when I first started, I like looking at.
Okay.
It's loading.
I started streaming. You might have to click into it.
Yeah. All right. We're loaded up here.
I gotta refresh on my end. I'm having issues. Jake, you see it? Oh, well, I just got booted.
Moving.
All right, can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm here.
Okay.
I can hear you and I can see you.
I can see.
Okay. Cool. So before I go through the report, I think it's important to point out that every audit report might be structured slightly differently, but there's a lot of common things between audit reports that make it easier to digest.
Could you send the link to the audit report so I can pull it up on my other screen so it's like easier to?
Yeah, I'll send that in the chat. Were you able to open that up?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So the first thing that I would note is the formatting of this like top section. In most audit reports, not just on Code for or Sherlock, there's a structure that starts with the table of contents, just breaking down how things are broken down. Usually there's an overview section just talking about the protocol, what it does. It's pretty common to have a summary section as well. And this also helps the people writing the report validate they understand what they're reading correctly. So that summary is, hey, if there's this DEX protocol, here's how it works, and here's how we understand it to work. The next section is defining the scope of the audit. So what actual files they care about, because when protocols get audits, they're not necessarily getting all of their code audited. It may be a specific feature or a specific subset of their code. So usually the scope there is included of here's what we're actually auditing, here's what we want you to audit. The next section is where in the audit report you define the severity of the findings you have. And so that's where you'll start to hear things like high vulnerabilities or critical or medium and low. And those severities may have slight variations, but usually it's implied that high and critical vulnerabilities are loss of funds, like if someone's able to drain a liquidity pool or like steal a lot of users' money. Medium is maybe someone can do that, but there has to be like a crazy setup for it to happen, or maybe the entire liquidity pool doesn't get drained, but a piece of it does, so it's still an impact. And low findings are like there's a ton of different variation in what those low findings can be. It can be things like not following a token like an ERC20 standard, or just like faulty logic in the contract. So when reading this report, I guess before I go on, like, do you have any questions or thoughts on that, or Miles, if you wanted to add in, because that was a lot of information.
No, all of that makes sense. My only question is, has that been standardized yet? Or no, we're still too early. Like
Yeah,
the severity classes of a bug, has it been like standardized, or is that just like general way people are doing it right now? But that could change. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, is there a group of like had like the Ethereum group sat down and been like, all right,
Yeah.
on Ethereum, these are the high level bugs, these are the critical bugs, these are the medium bugs that we've
No.
seen.
Yeah, what's
Okay,
happened
so
is we pretty much just adopted, like, the Web3 community has adopted the standards from Web2 and kind of like tweaked it, and essentially made their own. But when in terms of like, hey, is there an official organization that has standardized the severity classifications? That's no. It's literally just kind of everyone trying to figure out what's what. But that's like that's a community agreed standard, if that makes sense.
mhm.
Yeah. And also, really quick before Robert continues, is um, just to also let you know that I think we are gonna be doing this in later parts of sessions. So you're getting a sneak peek into this, and this is good. You're curious about it. Just want to just communicate that. Yeah, as you read it, some of it is gonna look like hieroglyphics. Like you're not gonna really understand what some of it's like, but just think about how like when Robert talks through it, just kind of think about how he's his perspective, and just kind of keep that and lock it in as we go through the course. I think that's going to be really beneficial for you and anybody else, any of the other students who watch the stream.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, Robert, my
Yeah,
bad.
I have yet to come across an audit report where I am familiar with everything. Like most audit reports I read, I learn something new or get exposed to something new, and we're gonna talk about it in the session this Saturday. But one of the reasons for that is so that you can slowly start just building that mental pattern recognition. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you look at the audit report, um, even in this one in particular, you can see like the name of all of the vulnerabilities and their severities at the top before you click into them. Um, so one thing I really like to do is depending on how much time I have, like if I'm reading this report just to learn, to like do research, I will try to come away with from this report with like an understanding of a few of these where I can actually look at the code, understand what's happening, and understand the actual like trace of the vulnerability. So I like to just like read through some of these to see if I'm familiar with them, see if I'm not familiar with them. Um, so we could do that just to see what one looks like. Okay, so maybe a good one to start is this one here. So I see there was a low vulnerability where there's a KYC status that can be given to the zero address. So I'm just gonna look and see what that is. Okay. So my first initial thought here is this protocol has some type of KYC that's just tied to an address. And I'm guessing this vulnerability is, or not, yeah, this vulnerability, uh, or just like not good practice is someone can add a KYC to the zero address. Yeah. But the zero address in Ethereum is something that, someone can't actually own. Um, like you can't sign in with the zero address.
Yeah.
And what I think this vulnerability is saying, yeah, I think that what this is saying is, hey, add this line so that like no one can make this mistake of, setting up KYC for the zero address. So this one seems more like a coding practice than a exploit, which is why I think it's low. Does that make sense?
Okay, so the vulnerability. Okay, now I read. Yeah, I had to just read the whole paragraph
Mhm.
real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, so what it's saying is, okay, that's the snippet of code, line 79 through 86, function add KYC signature and
Mhm.
how it's stored, right? The uint. address the user, the another U in a couple bytes, and it's an external function.
Hmm.
Then it's saying that in that snippet of code, you need to add the line require the user to not require that the user cannot use the G address 0.
Yep.
And then it says like KYC status for address 0 is not allowed.
Yep.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
And so this is one of the things in the report that I chalk up less as like a vulnerability because I don't see how someone can steal funds with this, but it could lead to weird user behavior.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it just could lead to some weird behavior, and it doesn't make sense to allow that.
Okay, okay, makes sense.
Yeah. Um, well, yeah, I mean, I just learned something. I never even thought about that. So that was
Yeah, KYC. Yeah, because it doesn't. Who you don't KYC the 0 address on anything.
mhm,
Yeah, wow. Okay, that makes sense. But putting that line of code in protects the code a little bit more. That makes a lot of sense.
mhm.
Okay, so that's
And
how you just do it for basically all. You just go through the whole report.
well, it depends on what my goals are because I have a few different. And I would be curious to see how Miles treats it as well. But I have a few different ways of reading a report. So if I'm reading a report as, hey, I want to just do some research to like learn more vulnerabilities, I like to time box it. So I'll give myself like 2 to 4 hours. Or if I want to make sure I go through a report, I'll just give myself like, 2 to 4 hour chunks over a few days. And if I just want to do research to like learn more, I will go through the bugs and then also have the code pulled up because most audit reports link to the actual Git repositories, so you can
Mhm.
actually see the code. And so I try and understand the vulnerabilities, and a lot of times that just leads to new concepts of that I have to Google and figure out what they are. Um, but sometimes I also read audit reports when I'm looking for a specific pattern, like if I'm doing an audit and I see something and I haven't tried to attack that in the past. I'll try and look for past audit reports that have used that similar code before, see if there's a way to exploit it.
Okay.
So those are like the two ways I really try and read audit reports. If I'm researching or if I'm trying to find an attack vector for a specific like thing I'm looking at in that moment.
Yeah, that's my same exact process. Um, Either reading just to learn for the day, reading through a report, or if I'm trying to focus and narrow in on a specific thing, I may, like, let's say I'm auditing a DeFi protocol that's using perpetual swaps, for example, or doing something with perpetual swaps. I'll go look at other audit reports that were perpetual swaps, and then try to find similar patterns. So that's the two ways to read audit reports. But
Okay, no, thank you so much. That makes a lot more sense now. Now I just understand more about how it's organized and what I'm actually looking at. That that makes
Also,
so much more sense.
yeah, and after the next session this week, the homeworks are going to be one CTF and one audit report. Because we want to have a section of the course like during the sessions where we're not talking, but you may have to describe vulnerabilities you read in audit report to other students or to us.
Mm,
So we just want to build that muscle because that's like one of the key things that can help you get better and get better faster.
okay. Okay. Yeah. Is this going to 8 or 8:30? How do you
Um,
guys do this?
I'll have to hop off at 8. I guess it depends on how long we're staying on.
Yeah, I think for those 2 hours is gonna be dedicated to this. If there's time after, then some of us might stay on. But tonight, um, hard stop after this. After in a few minutes.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Then I won't ask you to go through anything else. I'll just ask some general questions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember from the intro video, you're both auditors now, right?
No, I'm not an auditor right now. I'm a software engineer.
Well, you're a
Uh,
software engineer, and then Wizard Kelly's the auditor, right?
Yeah, I currently work at a audit firm.
Okay, so then maybe you're the one to answer this question for me. What are like the career paths on the inside of like an audit firm? Because I know that like there's people who review code. Like in Web 2, there's a whole bunch of different roles in cybersecurity, whether it be like white hat, black hat, red hat, cybersecurity analyst, cybersecurity architect, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like how does that work? I know the architects are more like security architects are working on like security protocols like the ZK rollup stuff. I understand that. But like is there like a career path for like people who do like analysis on chain? Like cuz I know like they like some auditors are like there was a hack today and like some guy was just like tracking the money on chain
Mm-hmm.
and like sending screenshots of what Etherscan was showing. And then there's other people who like what we just did, where we're like, or what we just pulled up, where they're looking at the code and seeing these vulnerabilities within the code itself. I wanted to understand like, what's the career path? Are those two separate career paths, or is it just
Interesting.
one?
yeah.
Or is it like how does like on the inside, how does the firm see? Because that's what I'm trying to be in your position. I'm trying to get a job in a firm somewhere. So I wanted to understand that.
Yeah, Robert actually is gonna have a lot for this, because there's a lot of he's still in the security side. So yeah, Robert, go ahead. And, I know you have a good bit of this part too.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm a software engineer, but I work at an audit firm and I work on a security protocol. So like you mentioned, like I work with security researchers who don't do any auditing, but they do like on-chain analytics. Like they'll do some like offensive security where they're like trying to track down hackers and label them and prevent them from taking money in exchanges, but they also do defensive security. Um, yeah, so I think there's a few different security roles, and like, but generally, I think security auditing is the process of reading the code and trying to find vulnerabilities so that you can, um, yeah, like add them to that report.
Okay, so basically, there's two basic main roles. It's security or three, right? Because we didn't. So it'd be like security architect. Those are the ZK rollup people.
Well, I think so. Like, I think there are at least two or three. I've seen maybe up to like I will have to think for a while about the different roles, but I've probably seen maybe like 5 to 6 different security roles. Um, and auditing is just one of them. And I've
Yeah,
seen
Auditing.
some security roles where there's like auditing's a part of it, but like other stuff's a part of it as well.
So
yeah.
you'd say auditing is one. Um, Security on-chain analysis is the second one. I would say, right? No,
Well, I think that would be more like just general security engineering or something like that. Um,
security engineering.
Bas- Basically, so from my point of view, like Web3 is very new, Jay. So honestly, like it's kind of weird to say this, but it's like people can kind of make up what position they want to be in the Web3 space because there's there's like no set role. So like I may be called a blockchain security analyst at another firm that could be a blockchain security engineer at another firm that could be a blockchain security consultant. Um,
they could all
the
be doing different things.
Yeah, yeah, they could all be doing different things, or they might cross one thing. So, like, I guess if we try, I mean, this would be a good exercise, honestly. Like, talking to us about this brings ideas of like maybe talking about standardization or something. I don't know, but
Mhm.
So there's security auditor who reviews code. That's the main one you hear. There'll be smart contract auditor, whatever it is, or they might be smart contract analyst or blockchain security analyst. That's typically what that is. Um, Next is uh, on-chain monitoring. So you might be called a on-chain sleuth. That's one of the biggest dudes goes by. But you can just be like a title of security researcher or incident response or incident responder. People in that area are the ones who are like monitoring the chain. They know how to work with analytics. Um, what else is there? There's a security engineer or a security developer. So they may be focused on the automation of security tools at a company. So if you're more development focused, you can build security tools for people. Um,
Okay.
and what else is there? There's blockchain consulting, so or blockchain technology consulting. I haven't really worked with many of them, but from what I understand, I have been a consultant before, and if I was a blockchain consultant, I would be working with different blockchain protocols, but I may not be on the audit side. I'd be more on like advisory. So what that means is a company is trying to build a product and I need to help them get that done. So I may say, hey, I know developers who do this. I know what kind of architect you may need. I know like all the pieces to put together this solution, which is what a blockchain consultant does. Um, but on my team, basically, it's just a bunch of auditors. It's about 3 to 4 auditors who do this on a daily, who look at code, review code, and that's pretty much it. You have project managers who may not read code at all, but they work with us on hitting deadlines. So that's also another way to get your foot in the door of maybe taking on another role that's not specifically smart contract auditing, but if you become a project manager and then work with the auditors, you may be able to, finagle your way into actually a role on the team. Um, that's the route I kind of took. And yeah, so I guess the summary is there's really no like uh, set standards of different roles. The main ones are security auditors, chain analytic auditors, or like people who just who review like transactions history and can figure out like where are things going, where are transactions going, and then you have like security engineers who build tools.
Okay. One last question.
Hmm.
For the purposes of this course, we're focusing on auditing, or are we also going to do some on-chain analysis stuff?
That's a great question actually. We're gonna do mainly auditing. We're pretty much not gonna touch on-chain analysis, and one of the main reasons for that may just because I mean, actually, Robert, he's literally helping on building a protocol for this, so he probably have a lot to share. But I'm not very experienced with on-chain analysis. It can be something we can do together on certain study halls if we've completed all the assignments. But to answer for the purpose of this course, it's mainly security auditing.
Okay. And um, so you work at an auditing firm right now. So is like, let's say for example, is the firm that you're working at,
Hmm.
would they hire one of us after we complete the course? Will we have enough knowledge from that? Would the firm be like, oh, you just like it's kind of, I guess that's kind of like a loaded question because you are teaching the course and you work at the firm.
Hmm.
But like, do you think not like you're charging, so it doesn't matter. It's not like
Yeah.
I'm not getting value for money, so that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I guess it isn't a loaded question. But like, do you feel like after this course, however long we go along doing this process, right,
Hmm.
that people that take the course would have enough knowledge to be your coworker?
That's a great question. So I'd say it depends, right? Because this is a free course, it's volunteer. Like me and Robert are, volunteering to do this and help people out.
Hmm.
There's not a how do I say it? There's basically not a requirement for everyone, for us to check that everyone is doing the assignments that they're doing, that everyone is, is actually like putting in the effort to do all these
No,
things.
assuming that
All the
they
assignments are complete, all the CTFs,
assuming they
all
100% complete the course.
hmm
Like, assuming that at the end of it, all 15 Ethernaut challenges are done, all the CTFs are done, and all the outside exercises and literature that you guys post and link,
hmm
like, say that's all completed.
Yep.
Would the person who completes all of it, would you be like, would you say that that person does enough that you'd call your boss, be like, yo, get my boy on the team here. I know he knows what he needs to know to help us make my life easier because I just showed him everything.
hmm
Would you say that, like, all right, now you have a good starting point? Here's some extra things you're gonna want to learn outside of this course in order to make you ready to come join my team.
Yeah, that's a great question, Jay. I love these questions you got. And this is good because it's on the stream, so people will be able to see this. Um, so would I say with all the things we have planned, actually yes. Yeah, if everything goes according to plan, that yes, you would, because the capstone is we're gonna split up into teams and go bug hunting together and actually try to find bugs in the wild. And if you're able to successfully, like, let's say you're able to get like a few lows and maybe like a medium or something. If you're able to do that, you're audit ready. And I would say you would be at a level where you can get either like an internship or an entry level security auditing role, where the company would be willing to train you up. And the reason why this question is so hard to answer is because when I started my auditing career, I wasn't even this far. Like, I wasn't far along like this. Um, I had a unique opportunity because of I just chose a chain that was not very popular at the time, and I was able to get land a role. So like, I want to say you may be able to find something now. Like, just even showing us a company or a team or a chain that you're doing this course, you're interested, you're trying to learn this. This is like I think it was your GitHub. I saw like you have a GitHub where you have a portfolio with a few things you've been testing out. And if you come to a firm and say like, "Hey, I'm interested in all this. This is me," you still may be able to get a role like at this point in time. But to answer your question, yeah, at the end of this course, if you're able to find a few bugs in a live bounty contest, you're definitely ready to join a team because you just did you did the thing of finding bugs and successfully did it. So yeah, I would say yes.
Okay. All right. Sounds okay. That was kind of like what I was wondering. Was just like, because you're in the field, I'm not. I
Mm,
literally am. I'm trying to get, put me in, coach.
yeah, I got you. Yeah,
Um, I'm just trying to learn as much as possible, work on this every day. Um, yeah. So
yeah,
that's basically it. Um, Thank you so much for all this help. I appreciate it.
no
I really
problem, man.
do.
Yeah, man.
Uh, yeah, bro. Just thanks.
Of
Sorry for
course.
being late today.
No, you're good. Yeah, I really enjoy the effort you're putting into this. That's the kind of like obsession you really have to have in the security auditing space, is like a problem and you just really are trying to solve it, getting help, asking all these thoughtful questions. You're doing all the right things. It's just keep it up, keep doing it, and start applying. I would say like any other role you see, or if it's just like security analyst, or if it's like blockchain
Well, so I've been
security.
looking
hmm
at pay posts, right? So I've been looking at the different job types, but you know, I just don't think I'm there just yet where I could, like, I still haven't solved Ethernet level one, so Ethernet level one. So I'm kind of just like, oh, there's another Rest one. Hold on, same company. Whoops, send this to you also.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, but like I said, man, like for me, I hadn't even done Ethernet level one. Kind of crazy to say it, but yeah. So a little bit about how I started was I joined a firm that was working in the Solana space, and at the time there was not a lot of security analysts. There was not a lot of security focused people like in the Solana industry, and so
Mhm.
this company was willing to hire anyone who just had prior security experience, and they're willing to train me up, and they helped me get ready to start auditing. So um, there are companies out there, there are small teams out there who are just like, look, we want someone who's hungry, who's hungry to learn and hungry to do the work. It may not be, the best pay. It may not be the nice shiny job that a lot of auditors talk about, but it will be a great, foot in the door of getting into the space. And yeah, so I say like, yeah, you're gonna feel intimidated, but apply. That's that. I got this knowledge whenever I was learning how to apply to. Go ahead.
All right. So in terms of that, what would you recommend is the way to like? Because it's not like they're gonna put on the job post, "We'll train you up if you don't know everything on this post" type
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, you're right.
So like obviously you got involved with this company that was helping with Solana. Do you know of any teams like you're on the inside of the industry,
Hmm.
or at least closer to the inside than I am? Are there people who are looking for just like people who are willing to learn? Like,
Yeah.
how does that, I wouldn't even know where to look to find that. It's not like it's advertised.
Yeah, that's a good question. So right now I don't know in the place I was at. One reason I'm not naming names is because this is on YouTube and I don't want to get in no trouble. But the place I'm at now actually has had some issues and let go of some people, and I'm not there anymore. I'm not there anymore. So um, basically, I don't know of a current team right now that's hiring. Oh, wait. Yes, I do. Open Zeppelin has security internships. Let me see if, honestly, I don't know if they have a position open now, but I'm gonna just give you this site so that you can just monitor it. Open Zeppelin. This is actually a parent company of where Robert, our other instructor, works.
I know Open Zeppelin. They do the standards. They
y-
standardize the tokens.
yeah, they stay. Yep, exactly. So let's go to we're hiring. And I think because this is one I wouldn't be able to get, but you may be able to. Is it on here? Okay, it's not on here right now, but there was a time where Open Zeppelin had some internships, and they were hiring people who were like who same position, very hungry, had already started with Ethernet, had been playing around, and just wanted to join. Um, and so they were sorry that they're not doing it now, but um, so answer your question, I don't know of a current team that's doing it. One reason is because markets is honestly bad in a lot of places. We're still in the midst of a bear market coming out. Recession is here. Like there's a lot of pressures on uh, a, there's a lot of pressures on like certain firms for hiring. There are positions available, but for like anyone jumping into it entry level, I haven't been able to see it. A lot of postings out there. Now, what I will say is start engaging on Twitter. I've seen you engage with my posts and I comment and all that stuff. Start engaging on Twitter and start posting your learning journey, because what may happen is someone may see like, oh, Jay, I see you're in this stage of learning. You're really hungry to learn this. Are you open to any opportunities? And this may happen on Twitter. This may happen on LinkedIn, whatever it is, and that's how it will start. You're right. There is no postings. There's no like roadmap anywhere of like, okay, how do I go from this? Do I get a certification and get into a role? In the Web3 space, it's very unorganized and decentralized. So it's engaging on Twitter, meeting folks, and word of mouth, and they might have an opportunity at some firm, at some company who's hiring somewhere. And that's exactly how I got it. I did not see the job posting. I just found someone on Twitter, had no likes. Literally, it was like a post of a job opportunity with no likes. I thought it was like, is this a scam? But once I reached out to that person and got in more involved, it was a legitimate position. So that's the best way I would say And that's the last thing I have to ask or to talk about because I have to drop. But does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. So, I mean, I'm so bad with Twitter. I just don't be posting enough. Um, yeah, okay. Like yeah, because what you gonna call it? Like I've tweeted you a couple times. I think I tweeted you today actually because
Yeah.
you sent that, which was actually really great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um,
Yeah.
what was it? That visual representation of the EVM.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know we didn't go over that today, but that was because I've been diving deeper into the EVM these last couple weeks, getting into the bytecode. We did that storage thing the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, oh, this is actually it's a great resource because it's visual, and that's something like for a lot of the EVM concepts, not enough visual.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so that okay, yeah, so I'll just start posting on Twitter more.
Yeah. Post on
I think
Twitter.
that's
Post your learning journey. And yes, some of the people I engage with, just follow them and see what they're doing, and just go down that path. It's gonna be the Web3 space, and these are the last. I promise, these are the last things I gotta say because I had to drop. The Web3
yeah, no, it's fine.
space
I gotta head off too.
is it's decentralized. It's all over the globe. People are all over the world. It's not like traditional corporate, and it's there's not going to be job postings on Indeed and stuff. It's a lot of back end, back office type of things where you just get connected with someone and they may have an opportunity, and that's like the space for just about anything. So yeah, I say just engage more, and you started here. Like this is a community that's focused on building up, our community right here. So the hopes is that we just keep studying and learning together, and we continuously help each other get better. We teach each other. I teach you about security. You teach me something about math, and we just help each other get better
Anytime
at.
you got a math question, send it my way, brother.
Got you, got you. And so yeah, that's just how the plan is that we can get to this point where we do get sponsors, we do get we this is just obviously we're just doing it as volunteer, we're just helping people, but years down the line, if we continue doing this, students actually learn something from it, it's benefiting folks. I don't see why it wouldn't turn into something where it leads into an actual legitimate pipeline into like a company. Like, yeah, at the end of this camp, you pretty much get placed at an internship. That would be my dream to do that. But right now, this is our first iteration. This was just something of,
Well,
hey, let's do this and let's throw this together, and it just came to fruition.
I think you should talk to your whoever hired you and just be like, dude, what are the like 7 to 10 most essential things for anyone walking into this role, and
Mhm.
then make sure they're taught in the course.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? Like the whole point of this, like my goal is to get your job. Like not specifically, like my goal is to, like be your coworker,
Yeah,
right? You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I feel like for the course to be successful, you just need to know what your boss is looking for.
Hmm. Yeah, no, and we are teaching those things. I'm so literally everything we're teaching is stuff that I had to learn going into that first company of like all the essential things. We're learning that plus some. So
Nice.
it's definitely all the material. The reason why I'm hesitant on like answering if everyone will be ready is because everyone's coming in at different stages. Some people who are joining may not have even programmed a day in their life, and they may have to spend an extra 3 to 6 months programming in JavaScript or Solidity to get up to speed. So that's why it's tough for me to answer the question. Like we're basically going to provide all the fundamentals, all the things you need to learn to get to at least know how to be an auditor. But there's like those nuanced things that come with programming, that come with doing other CTFs, that come with posting and engaging on Twitter, that come with all these, these are all these other parts that we're probably not gonna be able to do in 6 weeks, but that come with just the progression of getting into the Web3 space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it.
No problem, Jay. We'll catch you this weekend. Actually, I'm not gonna be on the call this week, but I'm gonna have a pre-recorded session for y'all. So
Oh, so we're not live this week. Thank God,
no,
because
no,
I had to go to work.
wait. We are gonna be live. Robert's still gonna give a part of it. It's just gonna be partial because I won't be able to make it, but we prepped slides. We still have a part for it.
Okay, because I have work, and I was like, damn, do I just like go into work a couple? Because it's only like an hour and a half. I was like, do I just go into work an hour and a half late?
You
I was like,
definitely don't skip
well,
work.
not late, but like just tell them I'm gonna be an hour and a half later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely don't skip work. If you got to go to that, that should be priority. But I'm gonna have the recording posted so that if you missed part of it, you'll get that piece. I'm not sure about the um, there's gonna be a portion where you and the rest of the students are gonna talk about I think it's gonna be CTF walkthrough. So kind of like what we did today, but one of you all will be doing it and kind of walking through the code, seeing how to do it, and all that stuff. So that part will be live. But the main chunk of it a good chunk of it will be recorded. So if you have to miss it, it's perfectly fine.
All right. Thank you, man.
No,
Appreciate it.
no problem. You have a
Good
good rest of
night.
your night.
Too, man.
Okay. All right, y'all. So that is the conclusion of our first study session. If y'all have any questions, feel free to skip. I see you, Byron. I didn't even realize you were in there. So yeah, that was the conclusion of our first study session. If y'all have any questions or are interested in taking this course, go ahead and sign up. And we'll catch you all this Saturday.